At midnight, a billionaire CEO knocked on the cafe. What he revealed changed her life forever. Lucy wiped the counter of her small cafe, glancing at the clock, just seconds to midnight. The shop was quiet, the low hum of the fridge the only sound. She sighed, her shoulders heavy from the day. Her bright smile hid the fatigue from 2 jobs and the weight of her past. She dreamt of her own bakery, a cozy place with the smell of baked goods filling the air. But beneath that dream lay the scars from her mother's abandonment, scars that ran deep. The door creaked open, and a tall, distinguished man stepped in, shaking off the night chill. Jack. He was impeccably dressed, not a hair out of place. His order broke the silence, "A cup of black coffee, please." Lucy glanced up, surprised to see a man who looked like he had walked off the cover of a business magazine in her little cafe. "I hope it's not too much trouble at this hour," he said, flashing a charming smile. There was a warmth in his voice that poured over her like sunshine. Just as she poured the coffee, he continued, "I'm an old friend of your mother's." The words hit her like a cold slap. "My mother?" Lucy's heart raced, mixing disbelief and resentment. The mere thought of her mother was enough to ignite the anger she had struggled to keep buried. Jack spoke softly, sharing memories she barely recognized, laughter-filled moments from a childhood long forgotten, tales of her mother's dreams that had crumbled under the weight of reality. "No, she didn't leave you because she didn't love you. She believed in something bigger," he said, and Lucy clenched her jaw. "She wanted to provide you with a life that, well, she couldn't give you at that time." Tears pricked her eyes, an emotional battlefield raging within her. Could it be true? Was her mother's choice rooted in a desperate attempt to seek success and happiness for them? It felt like a challenge to her every belief about self-reliance. "What do you know about it?" She shot back, her voice steadier than she felt. Jack paused, took a breath, and leaned in closer. "Lucy, I've seen so many brilliant people fail because they didn't have the support they needed. Your mother was one of them. She wanted to be more than what people expected of her." His sincerity reached her, shaking the foundations of her resentment. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The cafe felt alive with tension as Lucy processed his words. Could success be something less than superficial, a means of survival, a form of self-expression? Jack's revelations shifted something within her. For years, every choice she made, overworking, juggling jobs, raising her daughter alone, felt like a testament to strength. Now she was questioning if there was more to success than sheer determination. As the coffee cooled, time hung thick in the air. Just as Lucy felt courage bubbling within her, the cafe door swung open again, and a familiar face stepped in, one she hadn't seen in years, the ghost of her past. The shadows of her childhood loomed larger, and she could feel the ground shifting beneath her feet. This was a crossroads, an unexpected pivot point that would lead her down a road she never anticipated. Lucy's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the newcomer. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, the girl who had once shared dreams and secrets over ice creams and whispered promises. The years had been unkind. Sarah looked haunted, her eyes rimmed with weariness. A heavy silence hung between them, thick with unsaid words and unhealed wounds. "Lucy." Sarah's voice trembled, barely breaking the stillness of the cafe. "What are you doing here?" Lucy's tone was sharper than she intended, the years of abandonment and hurt resurfacing like a flood. She had worked so hard to bury the past, and now it stood before her, threatening to unravel everything she had built. I heard you were back in town," Sarah said softly, fiddling with a bracelet on her wrist. "I wanted to see you." Jack observed the exchange, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Lucy felt his presence behind her, an anchor in a sea of chaos. But her focus was solely on Sarah. "You had your chance. You left," she replied, the bitterness lacing her words. "I know it was wrong to leave, but you did," Lucy interrupted, her voice rising. "You left me alone. Just like my mother." The comparison hung heavily in the air, drawing a line in the sand of their relationship. Tears shimmered in Sarah's eyes, blinking at the anger radiating from Lucy. "I was scared too. You don't think I wanted to stay? It's complicated." "Complicated? That's not what I call it," Lucy snapped back, a storm brewing within her. Here was Sarah, looking for forgiveness, yet it felt like salt added to old wounds. Jack stepped forward, a steady hand raised as if trying to soothe an invisible rift. "Lucy," maybe he started, but the look in her eyes made him halt. She needed to process this alone, and he knew it. Sarah took a tentative step closer to Lucy, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm here, Lucy. I'm trying to make amends. I want you to know I regret everything. I wanted to reach out more, but more excuses." Lucy folded her arms across her chest, eyes narrowed. "Excuses don't help. I've had enough." The cafe felt smaller, the walls closing in, a pressure rising in Lucy's chest. The dreams she had fought for, the foundations she had built, all of it was tied to the mother who left, the friend who abandoned her. "What do you want from me?" she finally asked, her voice softening, crackling with vulnerability. "I want you to know I'm here for you now," Sarah pleaded, desperation etched on her face. "You don't have to do this alone anymore." Lucy's heart ached, memories flooding her mind. But she couldn't just forget the pain they shared. "You don't get to come back now and expect me to welcome you with open arms," she replied, her voice breaking slightly. "I've spent too long healing from your choices, Sarah." The duality of her emotions twisted inside her: anger and longing, regret and hope. Jack watched the exchange, sensing the tumultuous storm between the two women, and felt a pang of sympathy for both. In that moment, Lucy caught a glimpse of the little girl she once was, naive and full of dreams that had been overshadowed by betrayal. "I don't know if I can trust you again," she whispered, feeling lost in the memories of her childhood. Just then, a loud crash came from the kitchen. It startled them all, eyes darting toward the back where a set of pans had fallen to the floor. Lucy's heart raced. She couldn't let her past, whether it was the betrayal of friendship or the absence of her mother, hold her captive any longer. Jack's voice broke through the chaos, his seriousness grounding her. "Maybe this is the moment to choose. What will you do next?" Taking a deep breath, she faced both women, determination igniting inside her. The choices ahead were unclear, but one thing was certain: the past was knocking loudly, and it was up to her to decide who she would let in. As she stood at the precipice of choice, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something bigger, something that would lead her to either break free or spiral deeper into the tangled web of her history. What awaited her now? The darkest secrets of her family? A decision that could change everything. The door swung open again, causing her heart to leap once more. The moment the door swung open, a gust of chilly autumn air rushed in, swirling around Lucy like an unwelcome guest. The solid figure that entered cut through the tension like a knife, tall, impeccably dressed, with an air of authority that drew the eyes of the entire cafe. The chatter dwindled, customers glancing up with curiosity and intrigue. "Excuse me," he said, his deep voice reverberating through the otherwise intimate space. "I'm looking for Lucy James." Lucy recoiled slightly, instinctively taking a step back. How did he know her name? The man scanned the room, and when his piercing blue eyes landed on her, the world around them faded into a blur. "Who are you?" she stammered, glancing at Jack, who looked equally perplexed. "I'm Ethan." "We need to talk," he said, his expression serious. "It's urgent." "Talk? About what?" She felt a bead of fear drip down her spine. Was this another surprise waiting to unravel the fragile piece she'd built for herself? "Your father," he replied, each word heavy with meaning. He's in trouble. We need your help. The air carried an unmistakable weight. Lucy's heart dropped. The word father sent shockwaves through her mind. For years, she had distanced herself from the pain of her father's absence, a man who had, in her eyes, chosen to leave just like her mother. Now, here was a stranger with his name on his lips, demanding her attention by dredging up feelings she'd buried long ago. Why should I believe you? She demanded, her defenses rising. I don't even know you. Because I work for him. I've seen the repercussions of his choices firsthand, Ethan said, his frustration boiling beneath the surface. He's not who you think he is, Lucy. There's so much you don't know. Now's not the time for games. Lucy shot back, even as doubt scratched at her resolve. But as she looked into Ethan's piercing gaze, she could see the urgency, the raw sincerity. The warmth in her chest mixed with dread. Her life might get turned upside down once again. Jack remained quiet but stepped closer, his protective presence a silent promise. Lucy, maybe you should listen to him, he suggested, his voice steady but gentle. I want nothing to do with him, she replied, clenching her fists tightly, every muscle in her body on high alert. Please, you have to listen, Ethan pressed. This is about your family. A dangerous situation has erupted, and it involves you more than you realize. Her heart raced as fragments of her past collided with the present. Sarah's eyes flickered with uncertainty, as if she too understood the weight of that name. What do you mean? Lucy breathed, feeling the room close in on her, memories swirling, emotions colliding. All I can say right now is that your father needs your help to confront a threat that's looming over our lives. His voice softened, genuine concern sparking in his gaze. You deserve to know the full truth about your family. Lucy trembled, her world a chaotic mix of fear and intrigue. Years spent resisting the past were crumbling under the pressure of present circumstances. Would uncovering the truth free her, or would it chain her to a history she sought to escape? Lucy, Jack encouraged, his grip firm on her shoulder, you have to think about this. It could change everything. Or destroy it, she whispered, the two paths splitting before her like a fork in the road. The cafe felt electric, charged with the anticipation of what lay ahead. As Lucy stood at the cliff of decision, she knew she had to choose: would she face her past and step into the unknown, or would she retreat, once more hiding from the shadows? She took a deep breath, ready to explore the depths of her tangled heritage. The door of possibility had been flung open, and for better or worse, it was time to step through. What truths awaited her? And could this stranger really bring her the answers she sought? Lucy's heart pounded in her chest, the noise around her fading into a distant hum. She could feel the weight of Jack's hand on her shoulder, grounding her in reality, but the kaleidoscope of emotions swirling in her mind threatened to pull her under. What do you need from me? She managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's expression softened, a flicker of relief crossing his face that she was willing to engage. Your father is being accused of something serious. I can't say much here, but there are people who want to take him down and they know about you. I don't care what they know, Lucy snapped, anger flaring as she struggled against the tide of old wounds. I haven't seen him in years. He made his choice. There are things you don't understand, he pressed, urgency creeping back into his voice. This isn't just about neglect or abandonment. There are real stakes and you're involved. We need to work together, Lucy. A fleeting glance passed between Jack and Lucy, filled with unspoken words. Jack's eyes were filled with concern and encouragement, a silent question, will you fight? The thought sparked a flicker of defiance within her. She wanted to turn away, to escape the apparent chaos of her father's life, but the idea of being implicated, of his negligence possibly dragging her under, was enough to push her to the brink. Ethan took a step closer, lowering his voice. You have to trust me. I know this is intense, but I've sworn to protect him and your family from this threat. And if you refuse to help, it's not just your father who will suffer. Lucy's breath hitched in her throat as she considered the uncertainty of the future unraveling before her. What kind of danger could possibly be closing in? Her fingers trembled, glancing towards the cafe door, wondering how far she could run before it all caught up with her again. "What are you saying? What do you need me to do?" She wasn't sure if she was ready to step up, but something inside her screamed that she had to. Ethan's eyes lit with purpose. "We need you to confront the past, Lucy. There are clues, connections your father has hidden. You'll need to start digging. I have resources to help you, but you have to be willing. Digging into what?" She cut him off, panic bubbling up. "Into his life. Why would I want that?" "Because you're stronger than you believe," he said, his tone earnest. "And because if you don't take this chance, it's not just your father who is at risk, your future is in jeopardy too." Jack leaned closer. "Lucy, if there's any chance you can uncover the truth and save him, maybe you owe it to yourself to explore it. No matter how hard it is." The decision loomed ever larger, the cafe's bustle a stark contrast to her spiraling thoughts. There was a sudden clarity, the unmistakable pull of familial loyalty battling against years of hurt. "There's nothing for me to uncover," she exclaimed, frustration bubbling over. "He left me. Why should I care?" "Because sometimes what we think we know isn't the truth," Ethan replied patiently. "Take a step back, Lucy, consider the possibility that he didn't have a choice. That there's more to the story. You have the chance to make things right not just for him, but for yourself." "The truth?" she echoed, feeling the word rattle her. "What if that truth shatters everything?" "Then you'll be ready to rebuild," he said simply, as if this was the answer they'd been waiting for. The air felt thick with unresolved tension, and the afternoon light dimmed as clouds rolled in, leaving the cafe in a subdued gray. It was a moment fueled by fear, hope, tension, and the weight of secrets waiting to emerge. Slowly, Lucy inhaled the chilly air, her mind racing through memories that had kept her chained to resentment for so long. Was this the moment to break free? "Okay," she said at last, her voice steady despite the cocktail of emotions inside. "I'll listen. But if I get hurt in the process, it's on you." Ethan nodded, a glint of respect in his gaze. "That's all I ask. But hurry, we don't have much time." And with that, a shadow stretched over her past, beckoning her to explore it one last time. Just as she opened her mouth to ask the next question, a loud crash interrupted their conversation. The door of the cafe burst open, revealing an unexpected figure, one Lucy never expected to see again. "Lucy! You need to come with me now." Confusion blanketed her mind as dread spilled through her veins. What had she just stepped into? Lucy froze, the voice cutting through the air like a blade. She turned slowly, heart racing, her mind trying to piece together the puzzle of the person standing before her. It was David, someone she thought she'd left behind with her childhood. The very last person she expected in that cafe, and his sudden appearance sent a rush of emotions spiraling through her: fear, disbelief, and a hint of nostalgia. "Lucy, please," he urged, eyes darting around as if he were worried someone might overhear. "I don't have much time. They're looking for you." Her throat dried up. "Who's looking for me?" she managed to ask, her voice coming out steadier than she felt. She stepped back instinctively, the memories of their last encounter flashing in her mind: angry words, accusations, a facade of the perfect life that crumbled when he left. "Not here. We need to go somewhere private." He glanced at Ethan, who wore a mask of concern mixed with intrigue. "You won't be safe if they find you here." "What do you mean?" Lucy's stomach twisted into knots. She turned to Ethan for support. "What is going on?" Ethan's expression hardened as he studied David, then softened back to her. "Lucy, it seems you're more involved in this than we thought. We need to hear him out." "Absolutely not." Her defenses had shot up like a wall. "He's the last person who can help me." David stepped closer, his eyes earnest. "I know I did you wrong. But this isn't about us anymore. There are forces at play, and they're coming for you because of your father. Her heart raced again, but this time with a mix of disbelief and anger. My father? What do you know about him or what he's involved in? And why should I trust you? Because, he said, his voice wavering slightly, I used to work for him. I know things. Dangerous things that he didn't want to get out. But I'm not the enemy here. Lucy held his gaze, trying to decipher sincerity in the flicker of his shadowed features. How many times had she felt his betrayal wash over her life? But was he really here with a warning? She could feel Jack's steady presence behind her, urging her not to dismiss this outright. Lucy, it's up to you, Jack said quietly, his eyes searching hers. If there's even the slightest chance of finding the truth, we can't ignore it. Yes, we can, Lucy insisted, frustration igniting her. I don't owe him anything. Then what about your father? David pressed. What if the truth about your father's situation puts you in danger? You have a chance to protect yourself, Lucy, but you have to open your eyes to the truth. And what if that truth tears me apart? She countered, feeling torn between the weight of the past and the uncertainty of a future she never wanted. I'm not asking for forgiveness, David continued, desperation creeping into his voice. I'm asking for a chance for you to hear me out. I'm your best shot at uncovering what's really going on. They've been watching you. The tension hung thick, and every heartbeat echoed in Lucy's ears like a distant drum. She could feel the crushing pressure of every decision weighing down on her. With every swing of thought, she teetered between the urge to protect herself from past heartbreak and an instinct to defend what she held dear. Lucy, it could be dangerous, Jack warned, but she already sensed the gnawing itch for truth rising within her, the desire to confront the shadows looming over her family. For a brief moment, time stilled, and her mind swirled as she weighed her limited options. The rush of voices, the muted chaos of the cafe, faded into nothing. Fine. I'll listen, she breathed, a chill enveloping her as she took a step toward David. But if you betray me again I swear I won't, he interrupted, relief flooding his face. Thank you, Lucy. You won't regret this. Lucy took a deep breath, heart pounding furiously as she felt herself slip further into a tangled web of danger. Uncertainty loomed ahead, but so did the flicker of truth. Would she uncover something she was truly prepared to face? As they stepped outside into the cool air, she sensed a storm brewing on the horizon. Threatening to reveal secrets she might not be ready for. Just as David began to explain, loud shouts erupted in the distance, voices that could only mean one thing: the danger they feared was closing in fast. Lucy, we have to go. David shouted, his voice sharp with urgency. Her breath caught in her throat, instincts screaming at her to run. What had she just agreed to? Panic surged through Lucy as she glanced back at the cafe. The shout seemed to reverberate in her chest, making each second stretch like an eternity. David didn't wait for her to decide. He gripped her wrist and began pulling her down the street, weaving through the throngs of unsuspecting customers without looking back. Where are we going? She gasped, trying to keep up with his hurried pace. Not too far behind, she felt Jack's presence, his steady footsteps a reminder of her reality and safety. To my car, David said, urgency lacing his words. We'll be safe there. Just trust me. Trust. The very notion felt foreign, and yet here she was, caught in a rush of adrenaline and a flicker of hope. She cast a quick glance at Ethan, who was torn between following and protecting her. His conflicted gaze made her heart ache, but she nodded. She had to know the truth, even if it meant confronting the past she'd tried to forget. They rounded a corner, and David's black sedan came into view, parked under a flickering streetlight. He fumbled with the keys, and Lucy could see the strain on his face. She glanced around, feeling eyes on her, sensing the growing tension in the air. It was as if the entire world could feel the weight of what was about to unfold. Get in, both of you, David urged, and they climbed into the back seat just as the sounds of shouting grew closer. Lucy caught sight of a group of men in dark jackets rushing past the cafe, their intent clear. She shuddered, curling into herself. What the hell is happening? She demanded, her voice a mix of fear and defiance. David took a deep breath, involving her in his shadows. They're after your father's files. If they think you have something that leads to him, they won't hesitate to come after you. Why would I have anything of his? Lucy spat. I don't even know what you're talking about. David's eyes pierced through the haze of confusion surrounding her. Because your father is planning something big. Something that could put you in the spotlight, and he doesn't even realize it. What are you saying? She pressed, her pulse quickening. He's never mentioned anything to me. That's the point. David's frustration was palpable. Whatever it is, he's kept you in the dark for your safety. But they know about you. They think you're the key. Lucy felt her heart drop. Her free, quiet life was quickly unraveling around her. And you? She shot back, why help me now? After everything? I came to warn you. He glanced between her and Jack, desperation now tinged with fear. I know what it's like to feel betrayed. More than you know. But I can't let you get hurt because of him. Jack crossed his arms, still wary of David's motives. How do we know you're not just drawing us into a trap? David slammed his hands against the steering wheel, frustration boiling. Because I'm the one who's in danger too. If they find out I'm with you, I'm as good as dead. Lucy felt the weight of those words. The reality struck her like a punch. So what's the plan? We can't just sit here. Right. David turned, determination shifting his tone. We need to regroup. I have a place outside of the city where we can lay low. For now, I need you to trust me. And just like that, the dynamic spun again. The impossible weight of trust flickered inside her, battling with the echoes of their past. Could she really lean on him after everything? The car's engine roared to life, cutting through the tension for a fleeting moment. Before she could respond, a loud crash shattered the moment. They all turned as a figure appeared at the back window, fist raised to pound on the glass. Heart racing, Lucy recognized him. It was one of the men who had been shouting earlier. Drive! She screamed, sensing the immediacy of danger braiding through the air. David hit the gas with a roar, propelling them into the dark of the night, leaving everything they knew behind. Lucy felt torn. Her father, David, Jack. The choices were piling up, heavier with each passing second. As the city lights faded in the rearview, she couldn't shake the feeling, truths were waiting. Just beyond the horizon, but so were threats that could devour them whole. Would she have the strength to uncover what lay ahead? With the shadows pressing in, one question haunted her heart: would discovering the truth about her family bind her to the past or set her free? The car sped down the deserted street, the night swallowing them whole. Lucy's heart pounded against her ribcage, each beat a reminder that they were running from something real and dangerous. David's grip on the steering wheel was white-knuckled, his jaw clenched in concentration. Where are we going? Jack's voice broke through Lucy's thoughts, steady but demanding. East. Away from the city, David replied, his eyes darting to the rearview mirror. We just need to get out of sight for now. I have a safe place, a cabin. A cabin? Lucy scoffed, her instincts on high alert. This is serious, David. We need to contact the police or no. You don't understand how deep this goes. The police aren't on our side. There was a weight behind his words that cut through the panic. Something dark loomed, and it didn't just exist in the shadows. Before she could respond, David took a sharp turn, tires squealing. The landscape shifted from urban chaos to dark, stretching roads flanked by tall trees. Her pulse quickened. The unfamiliar turned menacing, and she couldn't shake the feeling that danger was riding just behind them. If we're laying low, we need a plan, Jack said, concern etched in every line on his face. What are they after exactly? David seemed to hesitate, the tension in the car palpable. Lucy could see the gears turning in his mind. Your father's been involved in something illicit. If they think you hold any information but I don't. Lucy interrupted, feeling frustration ebbing into despair. I swear, I don't know anything. Why would he involve me? Maybe he didn't, but it doesn't matter what you know or don't know, David said sharply. What matters is that they think you do. And they'll stop at nothing to find out. The car fell silent, the haunting implications settling like a thick fog. Lucy's mind raced. Her father, a man she admired despite his faults, was tangled up in something twisted. She felt like a pawn in a game she didn't choose to play. As they drove deeper into the woods, the headlights illuminated splashes of moonlight breaking through the trees. It was beautiful, yet an eerie stillness surrounded them. Lucy's stomach twisted, something about this felt wrong. What if he's not doing anything wrong? Jack's voice was quieter now, filled with doubt. Maybe we're jumping to conclusions. There's a reason those guys were after him and now after you, David replied. His tone shifted, losing its edge. We have to be careful. If they find out where we are, he let the thought hang in the air, thick with dread. Lucy swallowed hard, fear entwined with a deep yearning for understanding. What if I want to confront my father? She heard the tremor in her own voice. What if he has answers? David met her gaze in the rearview mirror. You're playing with fire, Lucy. Do you really want to drag your father into this? Yes. If he's involved, I want to know why. Her voice echoed in the enclosed space, defiance clawing its way through fear. I can't keep running. I admire your courage, Jack said softly. But this is bigger than us. It's not just about what you feel you need. I'm sick of feeling helpless. The words spilled out of her, raw and loud. I deserve to know the truth, even if it hurts. David flicked a glance back to the road, frustration simmering beneath the surface. Then let us get to the cabin and figure this out, but I swear it's not going to be what you expect. As they rounded another curve, Lucy felt it, a creeping sensation of apprehension gathering like a storm cloud. The truth loomed ahead, darker than she ever imagined, yet undeniable in its call. Deep down, she sensed that finding her father could change everything. But would it bind her tighter to a dangerous past or unravel it entirely? Before she had a chance to process, the headlights stumbled upon something in the road. David hit the brakes hard, the car skidding to a stop. A figure stood silhouetted in the beams, a face emerging from the darkness. Who the hell is that? Jack muttered, fear creeping into his voice. The figure stepped closer, a glimmer of recognition striking Lucy. And then it hit her like a bolt of lightning. What if this encounter was the key to everything? Would it lead her deeper into the darkness or provide a sliver of light? The figure came into focus, revealing a young woman, disheveled and desperate looking. Her wide eyes glimmered in the headlights, and Lucy's breath hitched at the sight. It was Mia, a girl she hadn't seen since high school, a girl once full of life and laughter, now seemingly wrapped in shadows. Mia. Lucy called out, disbelief threading her voice. What are you doing here? Mia stumbled closer, her hands shaking. Lucy, you have to help me. They're coming for me too. They think I know something. David's face twisted in confusion. What do you mean? Who's coming for you? The people your father works with. They think I'm a liability. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Mia's breath came in ragged gasps, panic marking each word. Jack leaned forward in his seat, eyes narrowing. What do you know? I don't know much, but I saw something I wasn't supposed to. I tried to ignore it, but... She looked toward the trees as if expecting shadows to step forward and grab her. Now they want me gone. Please, can I get in? With a single glance, David made a decision. He slid the door open, and Mia scrambled inside, dirt on her clothes and fear in her eyes. As soon as the door slammed shut, David hit the gas, throwing the car back onto the road. What did you see? Lucy demanded, her heart racing. What do they want? Mia swallowed, her voice barely a whisper. I saw your father with someone who has been missing. They were meeting late at night. I thought it was just business, but then I started piecing things together. There are people in your father's circle with dangerous connections. I didn't realize how deep it went. Lucy's mind reeled. Her father, the man she believed was simply misunderstood, was now wrapped in something sinister. Why didn't you say anything before? Lucy asked, almost pleading. I was scared, okay? Mia snapped, her eyes wild. After I saw them, I kept quiet, but then they came after me too. I went to the authorities, but she broke off, shaking her head. They didn't believe me. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Silence fell over the car, only the hum of the tires breaking the quiet. David's grip tightened on the wheel. We need to get to that cabin fast. It's south, the only place we'll be safe. Lucy's breath came in heavy waves, realization crashing over her. Her father had led her into this mess. And now, they were all in danger, swept up in the tide of something larger than any of them. As they drove deeper into the woods, the shadows cast by the trees felt more alive, each one a reminder of what lurked just out of sight. Can we turn back? Jack asked suddenly, his voice breaking the tension. What if we made a mistake? What if your dad really is innocent? Lucy shook her head, stubbornness rising with her fear. I want back down. I need to know the truth. Mia rested her head against the window, tears gathering in her eyes. I wish I'd never said anything. Now we're all in this. The words hung in the air like smoke, acrid and oppressive. Lucy felt the weight of the night pressing down, a blend of dread and urgency merging into one. Just as they crested a small hill, a flicker of movement caught Lucy's eye ahead. What's that? She whispered, a chill racing down her spine. The glow of headlights flickered through the darkness, thousands of tiny pinpricks of light cascading down the road toward them. A convoy shining and menacing. You have to drive. Lucy urged, panic bleeding through the words. We have to get out of here now. David slammed the accelerator down, urgency radiating from him, but the path ahead felt blocked. They were trapped, with no way to turn back and nowhere to hide. The reality of their situation anchored heavily in the air, threatening to suffocate them. As they rushed forward into the uncertain night, Lucy couldn't shake the thought that they had just stepped into a game they didn't fully understand. With each thud of her heart, the question echoed, would they be hunted or saved? The headlights of the approaching cars flashed like warning signs, and suddenly, she knew time was running out. And then the road slipped away. Lucy's grip tightened around the door handle as the headlights approached. Panic surged through her, a wild storm swirling inside. She glanced at Mia, whose face had gone pale, eyes darting wildly between the darkening woods and the approaching convoy. Jack, too, was frozen, his knuckles nearly white against the seat. David, we need to find a way out. Now! She shouted, her heart pounding in rhythm with the rapid flicker of headlights. I'm trying. David's voice was strained, the engine roaring as he swerved the wheel sharply. The car lurched, tires screeching against the gravelly surface. The convoy's lights grew larger, more ominous, and Lucy could make out the silhouettes of several vehicles, large and imposing. They were like thunderclouds in a clear sky, out of place, dangerous, and ready to unleash a storm. Do they know we're here? Jack asked, his voice small, almost drowning in the tension. Mia shook her head, the tears endlessly pooling in her eyes. They can't know, they can't. Lucy, please. We have to get away, she pleaded, panic slipping into desperation. Suddenly, a thud echoed in the air, crashing through the tense silence that had settled in the car. A shadow swept over them, and before Lucy could react, a figure jumped out from one of the convoy vehicles. The fluorescent glow illuminated the face of a man, a face she didn't recognize. Stop your vehicle. His voice boomed, filled with authority and malice. "You're not going anywhere." David's eyes widened. "What do we do?" "Back up," Lucy urged, adrenaline pumping through her veins. "We have to," but before she could finish, the man sprinted toward them, his movements clipped and calculated, the menace in his stride evident. Behind him, more figures piled out, each dressed in dark suits and wearing expressions that practically screamed danger. The convoy wasn't just a group of men, they were predators. "Now!" Lucy screamed, and David slammed the car into reverse. The tires spun, throwing gravel as they narrowly missed a tree. "Hold on!" David gritted through clenched teeth, giving the wheel a sharp twist to the left, aiming for an opening in the dense forest to their right. Mia screamed, clutching her arms tightly around her torso, while Jack leaned forward in a panic. "We can't just drive into the woods. We'll get lost." But they had no choice. Lucy felt the weight of the world collapse in on her as they plunged into the darkness, branches scraping against the car like nails against metal. "Just keep driving." Lucy's voice shook, each word a desperate plea. "We have to find something, anything." They barreled deeper into the woods, headlights casting frantic beams through the trees. The noise of the convoy faded momentarily, but Lucy knew it wouldn't last. The urgency of the moment pressed heavily on her chest, each thump of her heart sounding a warning. "Look!" Mia pointed. "There's a clearing up ahead." "Thank God." David's voice was laced with relief, but Lucy couldn't shake the feeling that they were merely trading one danger for another. They broke through the tree line and into a clearing, the moon casting a silver glow on an expansive field. But their moment of reprieve was short-lived. A jagged silhouette loomed at the edge of an old cabin, its windows dark and foreboding. "What now?" Jack asked, his voice trembling. "Maybe we can hide there," Lucy suggested, her heart racing. "We can't just sit out here." "They'll find us," Mia whispered, terror lacing her tone. "I care more about finding out what is going on than hiding." Lucy snapped, a flash of anger piercing through her fear. "We need answers." As David maneuvered toward the cabin, the reality of their situation hit hard. They weren't just running from the unknown anymore, they were facing down something very real, very dangerous. David parked the car, and they sat in silence for a moment, breathing heavily, staring at the ominous structure looming before them. "We need to go inside, we need to figure this out," Lucy decided, her pulse racing. As they stepped out, the air turned chilly, and the woods around them fell silent. Little did they know. The next twist was lurking just beyond the door of that cabin, waiting for them, waiting to change everything. "Do you think we'll really find answers in there?" Mia asked, fear etched into her features. "What I'm afraid of," Lucy whispered, her voice barely above a murmur, "is what happens if we don't." In that moment, they were more than just friends swept up in a crisis, they were a fragile alliance, stepping closer to an uncertain fate. With hesitant steps, they approached the cabin door, unaware of the secrets that awaited them inside. Was it refuge or ruin that they were about to uncover? Lucy stood at the cabin door, heart racing, the cold night air wrapping around her like a cloak of uncertainty. She exchanged nervous glances with Jack and Mia, each of them bracing for what lay inside. The darkness hung thick, a cover for all the secrets they hoped to unveil, but equally, the potential for danger loomed large. "Are we really doing this?" Jack asked, his voice low. "We have to," Lucy replied, forcing herself to sound more confident than she felt. She pushed the door open, hinges creaking their protest. The stale air rushed out to greet them, a mixture of dust and something rotten. They stepped inside, thickness of the darkness enveloping them. David took the lead, his flashlight beam slicing through the gloom, revealing cobwebs in the corners and old furniture draped in white sheets. "I know it looks abandoned," he said, voice echoing, "but it's our best shot. This is where he kept things hidden." "What kind of things?" Mia questioned, anxiety coloring her tone. David shrugged, eyes scanning the room. "Whatever it is, he must be considered it important enough to store away from prying eyes." Lucy turned her back to the door. Future plans overtaken by decisions of the past, one decision needle threading through her. She grabbed hold of that thought. They were there for answers for the truth that I in the far corner, an old wooden desk caught her eye. It exuded a sense of importance, even under layers of dust. She walked over to it, heart pounding, while Jack and Mia kept an eye on the door guarding against what might still lurk outside. "Help me look," she urged, excitement tinged with fear. Together, they wiped the desk clean, revealing papers coated in dust. There were scattered files, dates, names, and initials. "Oh my God, Lucy! Is that?" Mia breathed, pointing. Lucy's fingers trembled over the pages, finding her father's name written on most of them. "What does this all mean?" she whispered, the weight of her discovery pressing on her chest. Footsteps suddenly echoed outside, strong, confident, and purposeful. A jolt of fear shot through Lucy. "Someone's coming," she hissed, her heart thrumming in her ears. Jack quickly grabbed Mia and pulled her behind the desk, Lucy joining them as they crouched down, holding their breath. The door creaked open slowly. Lucy's pulse quickened as shadows spilled into the room, tall and imposing. A voice, rough and commanding, filled the space. "You think you could run forever? You're just prolonging the inevitable." Is that them?" Mia whispered, horror spilling from her words. "Are they here?" The door swung open, revealing two men dressed in black. Lucy straining to see their faces, each step they took deeper into the cabin stirred the anxiety lurking in her gut. "Where's David?" one of them growled, scanning the room. The sweat beaded on Lucy's brow. They couldn't afford to be found. But just then, a crash from the back of the cabin sent everyone jumping. David burst through a side door. "Get down!" he yelled, his eyes wide with panic. "What did you do?" the other intruder shouted, turning toward David, who dashed into the room. "You weren't supposed to be here." "Neither were you." He rushed toward Lucy and her friends. "I can explain." There was little time. Jack, Lucy, and Mia surged into action. They grabbed whatever they could and scrambled toward the back window, quick and quiet, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Lucy's heart raced as fear gripped her every thought, but resolute fear propelled her forward. "Go! Now!" David shouted, glancing back at the men. "I'll hold them off." "Are you crazy?" Jack yelled, moving quickly to push Lucy through the window. "You can't stay. You need to protect yourself. Just go." David shouted sternly, adrenaline pushing him forward as he stepped between his former partners and the blinking, desperate group in front of him. Lucy hesitated only for a moment. She could see the strength in David's resolve, an iron will to protect even after all the past betrayal. "I won't leave you," she yelled, fighting to keep her footing on the windowsill. "Just get out," he shouted. With desperation, eyes pleading. The weight of their shared history hung in the air like smoke. She needed clarity. Love, anger, it all twisted in her chest. Before she could argue further, strong arms pulled her through, and Mia and Jack followed suit. Outside, they crouched low among the trees, peering back at the faint outline of the cabin. Fear rippled through Lucy. They had a chance to escape, but David might not come back. "Where do we go?" Mia breathed, eyes wide. "Anywhere but here," Lucy said, trying to steady her voice like a rock in a tidal wave. "We have to keep moving." The weight of the truth pressed heavily against her, but one thing even stronger surged in her chest, an unyielding sense of family. She needed to face the truth, not just for herself, but for everyone. "We have to find out what's really going on with my father." With newfound determination, they slipped quietly through the woods, shadows playing across their faces. Everything had changed in an instant. Each woman carried resilience, and the shadows of the past drew closer with every step. And maybe, just maybe, confronting those shadows would finally free them all. Lucy. Jack murmured as they ran, tugging her arm. What are we going to do? Find the truth, she replied, breathless. It's time to stop running. With purpose, Lucy pressed on, the storm gathering behind her only fueling her resolve. The pieces of her past lay scattered, but she could choose to gather them, weave them into something new. No longer would they be chained to history's grip. Healing awaited, and Lucy would be damned if she wasn't going to uncover every last secret. This was her fight. And she was ready. Before they could turn another corner, Mia stopped. Look, she said, eyes wide. In the distance ahead stood a figure silhouetted in the moonlight, emotions swirling at the prospect of confrontation. Was this the moment everything changed? Would this lead them closer to the truth? In that shimmering night under the vast horizon, Lucy realized this was just the beginning of her story. The truth awaited, and she was ready to face it, no matter what the cost. Time would tell if she could reclaim her family's legacy or if it would all come crashing down. And with that, they moved forward, a pact forged, hearts intertwined against the darkness that loomed larger than ever. This was Lucy's moment. And she wouldn't turn back. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. We want to know what you think. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support and show your love for this channel. Only true fans understand the importance of acting now.